Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.
And good evening, everyone. This is Keep It in the Ring. I'm Rich Mancuso. Thanks for joining me, as always, live on Thursday, December 5th, 2024. The year is almost over, but we keep doing it here every week live for you on Keep It in the Ring, your source for boxing. We talk also and analyze the boxing, the pro wrestling, some MMA, and of course we'll do that this hour a little more tonight. Carl Roberts joining me behind the scenes, my producer. Thanks for pitching in tonight for Scott Churston. And we got a lot to talk about, of course. I'm live on my YouTube channel, and you get me there. And also like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, Stream Punk Entertainment, the AGT Network as well, and like my Keep It in the Ring page. Well, a couple of major fights this weekend we're going to talk about. It's scrolled at the bottom of your screen. My social media handles, as always, X, Twitter, Ring786, Facebook.com, Rich Mancuso. I'm also on Instagram. Leave your comments, subscribe to me. I will get back to each and every one of you the best I can, as I try and do every day. I'm at this 24/7, as you know. Content. Read my content, latinosports.com, newyorksportsday.com, String Punk Entertainment, and some other outlets. But I'm here for you tonight. Let's get to it. This long, fast hour of Keep It in the Ring. Because the fight weekend coming up, major supercard in February announced. We'll talk about that. And the Survivor Series and the aftermath of that. Plus, we'll look at Wrestling Going Extreme, a small wrestling school in the Bronx, New York. I went to one of their shows over the weekend, had a blast. We'll talk about that. But for right now, hey, don't get ready for the nostalgia part, too. There's a good one there this week later in the hour. Let's look at this weekend, the fight calendar winding down for the year. Some major fights still on the calendar. They're winding down and setting up for what should be an exciting, great new year of boxing in 2025. But we're not done with 2024 yet. And this Saturday night on the Zone, San Juan, Puerto Rico, Roberto Clemente Coliseum, Leon Paro. First title defense at 140, IBF Junior welterweight title up to grab against Richardson Hitchens from Brooklyn, New York. Now, Hitchinson says he's on a level that is much different to Paro. So let's see where this goes. But Hitchens is very talented, 18-0, 7 knockouts, deserved this opportunity, mandatory dethroned. Of course, Paro dethroned Cibril Matias in Puerto Rico back in June in his homecoming in his first world title match. This time will be for Hitchens, who has that opportunity to become a champion and a major one in a division, of course, junior welterweight 140, that is the most hotly contested and the most competitive division in the sport, as I tell you and as you know, that is at 140. Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, Teofimo Lopez, and so forth. So here we go this weekend on the Zone with Hitchison and Paro. Now, of course, out of Brooklyn, New York, is Hitchison. He's 27 years of age, says he will get the knockout. He said that. He said that prior to the final press conference of the event today, and probably tomorrow at the weigh-in in Puerto Rico, where there's a lot of excitement for this fight in San Juan. And let's see where this goes. I can tell you right now, Paro is deserving of the title. What he did to Sabrias was unexpected, to Cibril Matias. And what Paro can do is he can go punch to punch with Hitchens, and I think this is going to be one of those fights to look at as we get to the end of the year. And Hitchens is one that's not to be overlooked. He deserved this opportunity as a mandatory, and on the Zone Saturday night, you're bound to see a good one. And it's very, very possible that Paro, in his first title defense, will lose that title, and then Hitchens would become the champion at 140, at least part of that championship picture in the division. But this is also a very good card of boxing on the Zone. Matchroom the Zone presenting there's a Puerto Rican clash here. Puerto Ricans, Henry LeBron, Christopher Diaz. Christopher Diaz lost to Navarrete, and we'll talk about Navarrete in a moment. Henry LeBron, this is a 10-round super featherweight fight, and LeBron, of course, fights out of the southpaw stance, and that's always something with a fighter that it's tricky how to face a southpaw, and southpaws know how to adjust as well. So that's a good card, including this LeBron Christopher Diaz fight. That, believe me, that has some implications as well on that Matchroom card. But we're talking about Saturday night also with another major fight, and good. It's going to start a little later than the one on the Zone on ESPN Plus. Top Rank out in Arizona, Footprint Center out there in Glendale, and these are the type of fights you look for, my friends. Fans of boxing want to see this. The long-awaited rematch with WBO junior lightweight champ Emmanuel Navarrete against the former two-time champ Oscar Valdez. And Navarrete, as you know, this is a Mexican, as you say in boxing, a Mexican war. The two of them have a lot going for them. The two of them know each other well. They fought once before. Navarrete and Valdez, the two-time champ. Navarrete, 32, 2-1, 3 knockouts. And, of course, let me tell you, Navarrete's style. He likes to pound you. He likes to go toe-to-toe. And you might see this again in their rematch. Now, Navarrete gave Valdez his second pro loss, defending the title with a unanimous decision in August of last year. So, this is going to be something with a 2-inch height advantage and reach advantage. Also, Valdez says Navarrete is awkward, and, quote, he says his punches made a few mistakes in their first fight. I will say this. I think this will go the distance. I don't know who will win, but expect another tight fight that'll come down to a decision, and hope those three blind mice, the judges at ringside, get it right. But it's a fight for boxing again for you, the fans, that we're seeing, presented by Top Rank on ESPN this Saturday night. And it's the rematch, and we love to see rematches with fighters that possibly goes into a trilogy. And I wouldn't doubt that these two will have a third fight, and that would become a latest trilogy in this illustrious sport. Also, the rematch on this Top Rank card, another good one. WBO featherweight champ Rafael Espinoza defends against Robese Ramirez. He dethroned him in his last decision with the 12th round knockdown and what was then an exciting fight. So you can have a good co-main, or chief support, as they say, before Navarrete and Valdez. Moving on, and let's take the latest with Ryan Garcia. But this time, it's not the noise coming from Ryan Garcia as we look at his upcoming exhibition fight December 30th in Japan against the kickboxing champion Ampo. Now, according to Oscar De La Hoya, and we have his latest tweet that he put out this week, according to De La Hoya, not so sure that this fight will happen, though they're going along with it. Ampo and Garcia, they did have a final press conference in Japan just a few days ago. De La Hoya says there's no sign-off with the event organizers to putting this fight on. He says Golden Boy has not responded to this fight. And he says Garcia is there, is Golden Boy, and that definitely is. Ryan Garcia is Oscar De La Hoya, Golden Boy property. But according to Oscar De La Hoya, he has not signed off on this fight with the event promoters there in Japan. So where do we stand with this? Well, they're going along with everything, and we see Ryan Garcia back in the ring in an exhibition on December 30th against an established kickboxing champion. Tune up for Garcia to get him to keep himself busy. Thank God he's doing that instead of doing nothing stupid. And Garcia will wait it out until his suspension in April of the new year gets lifted, and he can get back in the ring and still the buzz and the talk, as I keep telling you, about a rematch with Devin Haney. But according to Oscar De La Hoya, this exhibition with Ampo and Garcia is not official. Yet, we are told that it's going to happen. Tune in Stay tuned. This is boxing. This is Ryan Garcia. Drama always there. And with Oscar De La Hoya, drama also a part of his career and promotion. Though I do respect De La Hoya because he keeps calling for the fights to happen for the fans. And with him and Eddie Hearn doing that, that seems to be becoming more of a reality, especially with their workings in Saudi Arabia with the kings and princes, as I call them over there with all the money. So Garcia with no rants and raves, but there's still buzz again about the Haney rematch, and we could happen. That could happen. I keep telling you, when you hear it all the time, the buzz, especially on social media with fighters, you know a fight's going to happen. And there's a lot of money to be made there again. Garcia, Henny, I am sure will happen at some point, and I think it's going to happen in the new year on the boxing calendar. Stay tuned for that, my friends. And also up to Devin Henny, who wants to make sure that Garcia fights legitimately, has that lawsuit still on Ryan Garcia's hands, in his hands, regarding that first fight. Garcia cheated and ultimately was going to cause him damage, which he said, because of the steroids involvement that came out, the aftermath of that fiasco of a fight that we try and forget, because that was going to be the fight of the year this past April, but turned out to be just a disaster, as you know. On the zone this past weekend, say goodbye to a nice career for Sonny Edwards. The former flyweight champion said it's over after the 2020 Olympic gold medalist, Gali Yafari, outpowered him from the beginning. The ending came at 110 of round 6. Here are the punch stats to show you how bad Edwards looked and why he's saying this is it. His hurrah. That was it. Yaffe landed 18 power punches in every round. 32% of them were body shots. That was not the Sonny Edwards defense that we have accustomed to know from him as a champion. And as a former flyweight champ, Sonny Edwards said, I've had it. That's it. And hopefully he stands to his word, because he did not look good if you saw that fight. And the history of boxing, as you know, fighters will say goodbye, take a year or two off, and decide to come back. And hopefully Sonny Edwards, if he decides to do that, is healthy and strong enough and still has those skills to come back to show why he could be an eventual boxing Hall of Famer. And then we get this great news on the boxing calendar coming up. But first, it's centered around Jaron Boots Ennis, the IBF welterweight champion at 147. You know, he was supposedly in line to, we'll take a look at this. I'm going to jump to this in a moment. He was supposed to get Virgil Ortiz Jr. at 154 in his debut there, but he said no, staying at 147. 154 comes later. He wants to unify the titles at 147. Good for him. Xander Zayas jumped in. He wanted to fight Virgil Ortiz at 154, but they felt he wasn't ready. But then we got the final word. February 22nd, Saudi Arabia, the kings and princes come up again with a major card, a combination of promoters, Queensberry, Matchroom, and Golden Boy and such, and even Top Rank will probably, they're not really involved on this yet, but they might. But those are the three major ones. They're coming together with the kings and princes of Saudi Arabia for this official mega boxing show. 7 bouts on pay-per-view. Tell you about the pay-per-view price and how that's going to be to your advantage, my friends. The major fight on this card, February 22nd of the new year, in a few months, the rematch, Arturo Beterbiev, Dimitri Bivol, light heavyweight title. Of course, Bivol was withdrawn by Beterbiev. There was a rematch called for. We're getting it. But then you have, Carl, put that poster up again. Let's show the fans again this exciting and mega fight card in the new year. Daniel Dubois, who upset Anthony Joshua September with a 5th round KO, defends the IBF heavyweight title against the former champ Joseph Parker. Good heavyweight title fight. Then you have Virgil Ortiz Jr. with Golden Boy, not now with Boots Ennis. Instead, we'll get Israel Madronov. Junior middleweights, Ortiz was again looking at Ennis, who turned it down, and again Xander Zayas got involved with it, and he wanted it. But then it stepped away. Madronov became available. Ortiz, Madronov. That is going to be a barn burner. Carlos Animas, WBC middleweight title against Shariz Animas is the champ from the Dominican Republic. 24-1, 18 KOs. Exciting. Great fight. And then the heavyweight from China, Zhang, for the WBC interim title, heavyweight title. Another good one, Zhang, still in that heavyweight title mix, and a lot right on the table for him here. And then you got Batista versus Kaleem Smith, light heavyweights. Another good one. All February 22nd, Saudi Arabia pay-per-view, 7 bouts. And then this. Carl put it up. Shakur Stevenson in the ring in Saudi Arabia, defending the WBC lightweight title. Golden Boy prospect Floyd Schofield. Both know each other well. Carl, put up that image of Schofield and Stevenson. We should have that. I want to show. There you go. It has more of an effect. Stevenson and Schofield. They know each other well out of Newark, New Jersey. This, the exciting Golden Boy fighter prospect Schofield. Shakur Stevenson, the champion, hasn't looked good in his last couple of fights. He does hold the title, WBC lightweight title. And what happens here depends on what happens afterwards, rather. This fight does have implications. You got the undefeated Schofield, who has a lot of power. And you have Stevenson, who can be a defensive fighter with some speed, but hasn't shown that in his last couple of fights. There is talk still about Stevenson, maybe Zapata, but not for Gervonta Davis. And we'll tell you why Gervonta is not looking at him, because Gervonta Davis, Tuesday in New York, at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, it was officially announced. It's going to be Gervonta Davis and back in the ring, a title defense against Lamont Roach. You could read more in detail about this. I wrote about it, NewYorkSportsDay.com and on String Punk Entertainment. Gervonta Davis, March 1st in the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York, where he draws. But this came out in the first of 2 press conferences Tuesday in New York at the Barclays Center, announcing this fight against Lamont Roach. And this fight originally was supposed to happen in Texas. Then they were going to do it in Washington, D.C. Davis is from Baltimore, and Roach in proximity in Washington, D.C. But, and you know, they could have drawn there as well. Davis is sold out in record numbers in Washington, D.C., where he's fought before. But they're doing it at Barclays Center, which that's a venue in New York that I know well, that trying to rejuvenate boxing back into Brooklyn at the Barclays Center, but there's just been not enough business to do it because the fights are going to Saudi Arabia. They got the money to do it. That pay-per-view, by the way, I was just talking about, I'm going to revert back to that, is going to cost $29.99, according to the Turk guy, who is the king and princes, as I call it, Saudi Arabia, putting all these mega fights together with the promoters. That's where the money is. $29.95, he says. Great buy, all right? However, Gervonta wanted a fight in New York. That's what he is telling people. Didn't tell me that officially, and he's going to get his wish again. But this comes out. Startling revelation. Of course, he was late to his own press conference. He always is. And boy, was he late. He was 4 hours late, pushed the media back from a 1 p.m. start time, didn't start till 5:25 p.m. Eastern time at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. He missed his private plane in Miami, and that's why he was late. But Davis is known for that, just like he's known for starting late with his arsenal at the beginning of his fights. And then he disposes his opponents, and what makes him so good by the 8th or the 9th round. And Lamont Roach and him had some words. And Lamont says he's getting the knockout. Let's see. It's a title defense. And this is going to be a fight that Gervonta Davis says will be one of his last. This is what got everyone caught off guard. It came out of nowhere. Davis said, very subtle, start off that press conference in New York on Tuesday. Very subtle. He said in his own words, I'm done with boxing after 2 more fights, which means at some point next year he's walking away from the sport. Do we believe him? Well, you know what? His claim is that he's not getting the fights. He says that Lomachenko's been avoiding him as one. And he says that the big names have been avoiding him, including Shakur Stevenson at 140 if he fought there. And he has no business, he says, to be with Shakur now. He's far from that. But according to Gervonta Davis, who also was looking at Teofimo Lopez, those guys are ducking him. My friends, they're not ducking him. It's a part of putting these fights together. And I got to credit the Turkey and Saudi Arabia, the kings and princes, as I call them. They want to put these fights together. It's a matter of everyone coming together to put it together. But Gervonta Davis says because fighters are ducking him, he's only got 2 fights left in his career. That's all he wants. Was he 30 years of age? He's still young enough. He's undefeated at 30-0. He's proved so much already in the sport at his weight, and he still has a lot to prove. He's in his prime. Yet, he says 2 more fights, it's over. He's done with boxing, and it's most likely because of the business of the sport. Now, whether it be making money or not, and he makes an awful lot when he fights, and he's well off. He really is. He's made a lot of money. Or he's just disgusted with boxing overall. Fighters get that way. Fighters get disgusted in many ways when they want a fight that doesn't happen. Or they feel that they've thrown too many punches or took too many punches and it's time to walk away. But Gervonta Davis saying 2 more fights are left in his career, that's hard to believe, my friends. I don't believe it. What do you think? Like, comment, and subscribe on my channel here at YouTube, Rich Mancuso. Let me know your feelings about Gervonta Davis saying 2 more fights, he's walking away from the sport. Hard to believe he would say that as he prepares for Lamont Roach, and that should be a pretty good damn fight, as I always say. There's talk that super middleweight Edgar Berlanga went the distance with Canelo Alvarez, is returning in March, according to Eddie Hearn, maybe looking at getting Jaime Munguia, Jamal Charlo, or Khalid Plant. Berlanga made a name for himself going the distance. He was a name, but more of a name going the distance with Canelo Alvarez. And now the next fight supposedly is going to be set for sometime in March. And you look at the names that Eddie Hearn mentioned, Munguia, Charlo, or Plant. Well, Charlo hasn't been active. Of course, Munguia went with Canelo Alvarez. Let's see. Berlanga feels he still has a shot at another championship opportunity in the division. There's a list. And yeah, credit to what he did going with Canelo Alvarez. No one expected Berlanga to go the distance with Canelo. But he did. And as a result, still made a lot of money. And Canelo Alvarez got himself more on the top of his legacy as Edgar Berlanga became more of a name. That's what he did. So let's see what happens in March if that fight does come to fruition with Berlanga against Munguia, Charlo, Plant, or anyone else. But it's good to see that Edgar Berlanga is still active out there. He is every day. He's all over the place, by the way. All right. Now, I believe we do have our guest, and we have a young, exciting prospect joining us right now. Carl, let's bring him in, and I hope I get his name right because I always have difficulty with names. This one's tough, but I'll get it right, I promise him. Carl, do we have him? Ryan Zemprotecki, who is an exciting super lightweight, undefeated at 3-0 with 3 knockouts out of South Fallsburg, New York, way upstate New York. Carl, is he there? Just hint at me. You said he is. Where is he?
Hey, I'm here right now. I'm here.
Ryan, are you there? We don't see you, but we hear you. Are you on video or just audio?
Can you see me?
No, well, not yet, but that's okay as long as we got you. If you come on audio, that's fine. You might be having a problem getting in your video, but that's all right. I go through those issues all the time, my friend. But we hear you. We hear you.
And show my screen, right? It doesn't let me.
No, that's okay. We can hear you. That's fine. We'll be seeing you because I got a lot of images of your fight. First of all, Ryan, pronounce your name correct for me again. Tell us how to pronounce your name.
So my name is Ryan Zemprotecki.
Gervonta, and that's Mexican American, right?
Yes.
Okay. And Ryan, he's a super lightweight. He's out of South Fallsburg, New York, as I said. Am I correct?
Fallsburg, but yes, Fallsburg, New York,
Right.
yes.
So then that's up there in the is that by the Beacon area, New York, in that area?
Yes, it is. It's a little close by, but yeah.
All right. 3-0, three knockouts, fighting for Jimmy Adams, who does great promotions in Tennessee, country boxes to promotion. That's where Ryan is starting to develop his young career. How old are you, Ryan?
I just turned 24 days ago, so I'm 28.
24 years old. And
No,
and
no,
when
20,
did you
20,
get it?
20.
You're 20 years old.
Yeah, I just turned 4 days ago.
Congratulations again. Happy birthday. Belated from us here at Keeping in the Ring, champ.
Thank you, thank you.
Ryan, how long have you been an active fighter before turning pro? When did you start to get a taste of this business?
I've always been in this, but I got the taste of it when I did a TCL, the Team Combat League.
And what is it about boxing that you like so much? I ask every fighter that, more so a beginning fighter like yourself. What draws you into this sport? The competitiveness, the mentality, the athleticism. What does it?
Well, me, I'm Mexican, so I love competition. I love winning. I like punching people in the face, and it also gives me discipline too, in and out the ring too.
Yeah, it does. And at 20 years of age, you can only grow up more with it as you're just beginning. And you've been fighting often this year. I think you had 3 fights this year. As I'm looking at your record, 3 fights that got you to 3 wins, all for Jimmy Adams on Country Box in Tennessee. Mexican American, of course, you have an interest in the Mexican warriors of the past. You know the history of the sport with Mexican fighters.
Yes.
And so, what do you think about the fight this weekend with Valdez and Navarrete, the rematch?
Oh, that's gonna be a nasty fight. It's gonna be a dog fight. Two Mexicans going at it. It's a good fight.
Who do you look up to as far as one of the great Mexican fighters of the past? And a 2-part question here, Ryan. Right now, is it Canelo Alvarez? What do you think of the great Canelo Alvarez? Many consider as still the face of the sport.
I still think he is the face of boxing right now, Canelo Alvarez. I do look up to him too as well.
Why do you look up to him so much?
Well, he started fighting older guys at 17. He was fighting pro at 17, and he learned a lot when he fought Floyd Mayweather. And ever since then, he just became better. He became a beast.
That's right. You know that, and then you've had Julio Cesar Chavez before your time, and I'm sure you know a lot about him as well.
Yeah, yeah. He is my top Rush Mountain more, but yeah,
This is Ryan. Ryan, pronounce your last name again for us.
Zempolteca.
Gervonta, 3-0, super lightweight out of South Fallsburg, New York, and we're going to take a look at some of your some images of. I think this was your last fight. There you are. Is that it against Raymond
Yes.
Chacon back
Yeah.
just earlier in November
Yeah,
19th?
that's me.
You got a great look and you have a great outfit. It comes with your style as a fighter. As we look at that, does anyone and also what I love about you, and I've caught on to you as an exciting young prospect, and there's a reason why. At how look at that face, look at it, look at that image. That's a great image, by the way,
Yeah.
and look at how you just go after your opponent for the finish. Can you describe what the outcome here and that finish against Raymond Chacon?
I'm sorry, you broke out there. Repeat that again, please.
Can you describe that finish and the outcome here, the finish against
Oh.
Raymond Chacon here?
I thought it was a good one. I thought they could have stopped it a little bit earlier, but it is what it is. It's the ref. We have a ref for a reason. I thought I did good.
Yeah. What is your repertoire, champ? I'm calling you champ now. because I think you will be one day. Um, what is your repertoire? What do fans have to know about you?
The fans, what they gotta know about me is that I'm young, and I've been doing this for about like 14 years already. 14 years.
And is it your jabbing that's special? Is it your speed that's special? Fighters
What?
have different attributes to them. Do you bring the total package into the ring? What is it?
Listen, I can box, I can brawl, I can do it all.
That's what they've been saying about you. Who's your trainer? Who's training you?
My father, my father is.
Another father-son combination in the sport, which have been very successful in this illustrious sport over the years. What does Dad tell you, and how does that working?
He's my father, but when it's time to like train, he's my coach. So we know how to like work with each other. Sometimes there's not days where I won't agree with him, but it all happens for a reason, and that's how we're doing it right now. I think we're doing great right now.
Now you're scheduled again for Country Box. It looks like I see it in the new year, February 4th. So you have a few months away from your next fight where you hope to be, and I'm sure you will be 4-0.
Yes.
How do you spend your time in between fights? Because you're still a few months away from this last one.
Well, what I do is I train. Train. I'm always consistent. I'm watching my weight. I'm disciplined. Like I said, I am. I'm disciplined.
Do you have a problem keeping weight? Do you in between fights? Do you eat a lot and put on the weight?
Uh, no, 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 not at all.
Okay, so you stay at your latest super lightweight, which is
Yes.
that's good. That's good, and you're comfortable there. How long, if you keep fighting at this pace? You've already fought 3 times this year, and you're starting off the new year with a bang in early February. So if you fight 3 times a year, 4 times a year, which is very rare with fighters today, they don't do that. They used to do that. They don't do that often. How long can we say that you might be on your way to being rated, where you can get a nice opportunity? What is your plan?
I feel like by the age of 24, I could get a title shot.
And the division obviously is going to change between now and then, which increases your chances if you fight often and you're not idle at all. And you're well conditioned athlete. There's no doubt about it. I've watched and monitored all your fights. So the division obviously is going to change. The names will be different. If you fight often, knowing how the sport works, and you're with the right promotion, it seems you are right now with Country Box, you could be there, my friend.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Anything that we have to know about you that we don't know?
That we don't know. I've been fighting. I've been sparring a lot of pros that helped me get here, and I've hurt them too. There's a lot of good pros that are out there, fighting world titles, and I've done really good with them. I've been going toe to toe with them too. But my latest sparring was Richardson Hitchens. I sparred him like twice already.
And that I'm glad you brought that up because he's got this title fight coming up Saturday against Paro, so you know him well. What tell us about that experience? What did you learn from Hitchens, and also what do you think? How's he going to fare against Paro on Saturday night in Puerto Rico?
Oh, I think Hitchens gonna be really. He's gonna be successful in that fight. He's gonna get a knockout with a victory, and sparring with him gave me a confident boost. I got in there with like the best of the best, and he has a lot of speed and power.
Yeah, he definitely deserves this opportunity, and he has a very good chance, as I said at the beginning of the program tonight, has a very good chance of dethroning Paro and becoming a champion for the first time in his career as an undefeated fighter as well. Ryan, you ready to take the crack with me with the fact of the week? Every guest of mine on the program goes through this. Are you ready for it?
Yeah, I'm ready for everything. Yeah.
It's not trivia. It's a fact of the week, and here we go. Carl, do you have the opening for fact of the week, or do we just go? All right, champ. Here you go. This is not trivia, it's a fact. And you might get this right away. He was one of the first of the flamboyant champions with ring attire in the sport. 4 world titles, 3 weight classes. Can you get a guess at who I'm talking about? Fact?
You said 3 weight classes?
Yeah, he 4 world titles in 3 weight classes. One of the first of the flamboyant guys. You come in with great ring attire. This guy topped you any day. A Hall of Famer. First to do it. Really?
I'm not so sure. I'm sorry. No.
Very flashy. Puerto Rico. I mentioned that. Does that help a bit? Don't worry about it, champ. If you don't get it, it's no problem.
No, I don't get it. No.
Because one day, you know what? You're going to be my fact of the week one day if I'm still doing this program, and you're going to be in the fact of something else anyway, because we're going to keep in touch. It was Hector Macho Camacho. You've heard of him, right?
Cotto, right?
Yeah. Hector Macho Camacho.
Cotto, yeah, Cotto. Sorry,
Not
yeah.
Cotto. Not Cotto.
Cotto.
Hector Macho Camacho. Camacho. Cotto was stylish as well, but Hector Macho Camacho, he was the first to wear that awesome ring attire, and I knew him well. Tragically lost his life in Bayamon, Puerto Rico a few years back. But yeah, that's the fact. Hector Macho Camacho, the first of the flamboyant fighters. But you gave it a good shot, champ. I thank you very much, and I thank you for this opportunity coming on Keep It in the Ring with me, and I'm going to wish you the best of luck. Happy holidays, and I'll be in touch with you more often, my friend.
All right. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, champs. Keep it in the ring. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was great. Young, aspiring, super lightweight at 3-0, 3 knockouts. Ryan Zapratola, Mexican-American. Think I pronounced his name right. It's easy. To me, names everyone knows. But what a nice young man. I'm sure we couldn't see his face on camera, but we heard him. We heard what he's thinking. We heard what his outlook is. Fighting again, beginning of February down in Tennessee, Jimmy Adams, Country Blocks promotion. We'll keep you updated on his progress as well. All right, let's take this first brief time out of the night and come back, go into WWE. We'll look at the Survivor Series aftermath and more. And some AEW and a little MMA talk as well. This is Keep It in the Ring. I'm Rich Mancuso. Carl Roberts behind the scenes with me tonight, handling the controls. Back in a moment. Stay with us.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.
All right, back with Keep It in the Ring, this Thursday night edition of December 5th. Welcome in, everyone. Once again, I'm Rich Mancuso, and my social media, again, X, Twitter, Ring786, Facebook.com, Rich Mancuso. Like, subscribe, comment here on my YouTube channel, Rich Mancuso, String Punk Entertainment, AGT Network, and like the Keep It in the Ring page on Facebook. Many of you have been doing that. Want to hear from you as well, so comment, and I'll get back to you, whether it's here on the program live or throughout the week, as we come to you each and every week live at 8 p.m. Eastern. All right, let's continue the program. MMA note, they're just about winding. Well, their year is over, and it's been an exciting MMA year as well. Tom Aspinall, the UFC interim heavyweight title holder, has come out to say that John Jones, who doesn't want to fight him first, John Jones is a slippery character. Doesn't think Jones will ever fight him. Of course, Jones wants the light heavyweight champ Alex Pereira first. Dana White doesn't want it that way. He wants Jones to fight Aspinall, and Aspinall wants John Jones. So this is a storyline that will continue as we go into the new year with the UFC, MMA, and Dana White, because it's all up to Dana White who John Jones gets next. But Aspinall has said on record this week that John Jones is a slippery character. It sounds like pro wrestling a bit, doesn't it? And speaking of pro wrestling, wow, what a week. What a week. Netflix is getting ready. WWE debut in early January, and it's going to be stocked. That's going to be stocked Netflix debut. All the major names are going to be on that Netflix debut. WWE, and they're talking about not going into a hardcore type of image, even though they're moving from National USA Network cable television to the streaming service Netflix, and it looks like it's Michael Cole, and it's not going to be. I don't know where my buddy Joe Tessitore is going to end up with all of this, because he's not slated to the Monday Night Raw. Carl, who is it? Carl.
Yes, sir.
Who is, again,
he's coming back.
Pat McAfee's coming back. Right. That's it. Right. So I don't know where Michael Cole is headed. Maybe to SmackDown. So, but it's going to be stacked on Netflix if you have it, and you're going to see Monday Night Raw. It's going to be a more exciting look, they say, and they're going to have a lot of the big names on, not just for the debut, but every week. But Saturday night main event's returning. It's a week away from Saturday. Nassau Coliseum. Hulk Hogan is one of the headliners that reappearing. Remember, Saturday night main event, if it was before your time, that was a biggie on NBC TV. It's going to be on NBC again. And they're going to continue with 4 more or 5 in the new year prior to their pay-per-views on January 25th. They're coming right back at it. And this Saturday main event is going to be stacked as well, because it's the return of Saturday night main event. I don't know if Jesse the Body Ventura, they had talked about Jesse being on commentary. That's not official. But Cody and Owens is the main event, which will be good. And you're going to, Sky, Liv Morgan. It is basically their pay-per-view in December, because their pay-per-view calendar is over on PLE on Peacock until January in the Royal Rumble, which is starting to set up for, obviously. What about the fascinating things going on with WWE that came out of Monday Night Raw and Survivor Series? The New Day turning on Big E. And the reason is that's a swerve. Big E can't wrestle no more, so he's out of the picture. Probably be regulated to a commentator. But the way they did it was fascinating. Big E almost in tears, how New Day didn't break up Kobe and Woods, but turned on Big E. That was fascinating on Monday Night Raw. Gunther, you're starting to see a face turn for Gunther. And Damian Priest with Finn Balor, with a lot of talk that Bad Bunny is going to join Damian Priest soon and be a part of the Royal Rumble in January. But the Gunther face turn, you see that slowly coming. And they've been playing that role with him for the last 6 weeks or so. Drew McIntyre is going to return, and he did. And Sami Zayn, right away into a feud with Sami Zayn. Very interesting. Again, Liv Morgan and Raquel, and of course with Rhea Ripley. Ripley's going to get that title back from Morgan eventually, and I hope she does. You see that all coming up, and some of this is going to start to develop more on the Saturday Night Main Event. But let's now get to the Survivor Series aftermath. I thought this show was fabulous. I never give A's. B plus, fine. All right. There is talk also that The Rock won't be at WrestleMania, the 2-night event in Vegas come April, because he's got other commitments. But again, this is the WWE. This is wrestling. This could be another swerve. The Rock against Roman Reigns has been talked about and can very well still happen. But according to all reports that you know about, The Rock is not going to be at Mania, but I expect that to change. look at the Survivor Series aftermath. And Carl put these images up. This ending was, and this was the lasting image there, as Roman Reigns, the original tribal chief, the two Usos, Sami Zayn, and CM Punk. CM Punk. And they won it. And then you see, if you look at that image again of CM Punk and Roman Reigns by the War Games setup. Carl, put that image up. Look at that. He was going face to face with Reigns. Are we seeing a prelude to Reigns and CM Punk? Or is it going to be with Seth Rollins? Because that seems to come out of Monday Night Raw. I think it's more Rollins Punk, and then maybe Reigns down the line, depending when this bloodline story ends. And it doesn't appear to be ending. Paul Heyman has everything up his sleeve to keep this going with Triple H at a creative. And then Rhea Ripley wins the Survivor Series War Games women's match with her team, and even Bayley got involved, and Io Sky, and then Gunther and Damian Priest. An A match for sure. Gunther retains the World Heavyweight title. Damian Priest, again, taken out by Baylor, interfered, and now the rumor about Bad Bunny, who I'm sure is going to return with Damian Priest soon. And then this took me off guard, but then there's an explanation about why LA Knight was dethroned to the U.S. title from Shinsuke Nakamura, because they're going to put Nakamura in Japan, his native land, and they're going to put him there to defend that title with WWE's more involvement with Japan. So that's why Nakamura, obviously, and I think LA Knight's a little banged up, might take some time off. And that title is not going to be his last. He's destined to become a champion with one of the other major belts that WWE has. So, what do you get out of Survivor Series, Monday Night Raw, and all this? We do know this. Paul Heyman questions remain to be determined. Does he still side with Sikoa, or does he align with CM Punk completely and leave Roman Reigns in the dust? We see Sami Zayn moving on maybe from the tribal chief. Now he has another problem on his hands. We see CM Punk back in the fold. Is it Reigns or is it Seth Rollins? Very perplexing. We see Gunther again turning face, the good guy. But my friends, that storyline with the bloodline, which is the story wrestling line of the year, continues. It's drama folded. It's suspenseful. And you're just waiting to see when Reigns will have Sikoa one-on-one to determine who the real tribal chief is. Whether that be WrestleMania or Royal Rumble match, they're leading up to it. It's great theater that they do in WWE. AEW World's End, they're getting ready December 28th. And Yoda, and Cassidy returning, and Paige and Jay White and Christian, Darby Allin, MJA and Cole. You know, let me tell you about AEW. Their ratings are not that great. Their arena shows are not filling to capacity, yet they've got so much talent, and they keep coming up with different storylines to try to grab your interest, but they're too confusing. That's the issue. And that comes because of creative. And I'm not faulting Tony Khan or what AEW does. They are putting on a good product, but you just get confused by what they're doing at times. They have just too much talent on the roster that makes it confusing, and they rush into storylines without going into them. And that, my friends, can be very, very confusing with AEW. Yet, MJF is destined to be champion again, and I still like Christian being the father figure. And Darby Allin and Moxley again, or Cassidy. They're heading towards a four-way match, I think, with Darby Allin, Moxley, and so forth at World's End. So stay tuned. That came out of Dynamite last night with AEW. All right. But I want to go extreme now. I want you to look at this. Let's go to extreme wrestling. You know, over the years, these smaller or low-level wrestling promotions, they are the backbone of the wrestling industry. I can tell you from experience because I was involved with many of them over the years. This is a small, very, very small promotion, but a lot of their talent going out and wrestling otherwise at other places, other venues all around the New York, Connecticut, Jersey area and beyond. And that's a good thing about it. Extreme Wrestling is a small, minor level wrestling group with big time aspirations. They have a warehouse in the Bronx, New York, in the Fordham area, and they converted it into a wrestling training ground, and they run shows there, and nice small shows. And they did a good job. They do a great job. I had a great time there last Saturday night. Take a look at their champion. He's an interesting individual. He's known as the Rockster. He holds the titles for Extreme Wrestling. And here's a lot of the crew backstage. I had a good time talking to them, getting to know these guys. Young, aspiring talent, even the referee who does all the matches in the back, LeBron. These guys are hungry. They want it. And these are the little shows that make them want it because they're staying active and they're getting the experience and they're trained well and they have a lot of safety protocols in effect that are good for them. And they run active shows and then they're farmed out. Whoever wants to use them could use them. Some of them work for no money. But this is a part of what pro wrestling does at the beginning stages for a young, aspiring pro wrestler. And Extreme does it, and all credit to them, including our friend Trash. Trash lost his Survivor match. He wasn't happy about it. I talked to him afterwards outside. Run that call.
Trash. Turn around. So you're disappointed? What are you going to do next time?
Next time for sure, Isaac is getting taken one-on-one. There's no sense in having this happen as a team. There's a sense in me taking him out myself. You'll see.
What went wrong?
I had a bunch of garbage people on my team. That's what happened.
So you didn't get to throw the trash out?
No, of course not. I got interrupted by a bunch of garbage themselves. But it's all right. Watch.
All right, keep it in the ring.
Let's believe.
Yeah.
Trash has been on this program. I got to know this young man real well, and of course he lost the Survivor match, and he's now out for vengeance. He wasn't able to throw out the trash. Let me tell you something. He's an exciting young wrestler working his way up. That's what he wants. That's his dream. That's his goal. And we'll keep in touch with him. I'm on the program again, but there you have it. He wasn't a happy man, was it? He didn't keep it in the ring with me, Rich Mancuso, as you all do each and every weekend. Thank you again for Extreme Wrestling for having me. I enjoyed it. I'll be back there again. We'll be back with our final segment on the program tonight, and we're going to talk some nostalgia and some other things. Back in a moment. This Keep It in the Ring. I'm Rich Mancuso. Catch me on social media, live on my YouTube channel here. Like, comment, and subscribe. Back in a moment. Keep it in the ring.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still.
All right, that was as brief as could be because we are running to the top of the hour. And Carl, we're doing nostalgia first, okay? And then some other notes as we'll wrap it up tonight. Okay, let's get to the nostalgia this week. Weekly nostalgia clip or photo or image. Are we doing that, Carl? Because I have a good one. We're doing that first with Juan Manuel Marquez and Manny Pacquiao. This is 6th round of their welterweight fight, and this was December 8th, 2012. I covered this fight. The MGA Grand in Las Vegas, Nevada. Non-title fight. 4th meeting between these two great warriors. And round 5 became the knockout of the year. It was a feud with the two of them. And this was what was great. HBO boxing was the mainstay. That was where you watched boxing. Of course, no longer with us, HBO, neither is Showtime. Now we're all streaming networks in boxing. Back then it was HBO. This was HBO pay-per-view. Pacquiao Marquez 4 times. Controversial first fight between the two of them, but then they ended it. And they had 4 great fights. Of course, Pacquiao, the only 8 division champion in the sport, and that fight on HBO pay-per-view at the time got 1.15 million views, purchases, buys. They made money. We don't get that in pay-per-view boxing no more. But Pacquiao Marquez was a rivalry and one to always remember. Speaking about Manny Pacquiao, it was announced today the newest inductees of the 2025. The inductee class, the International Boxing Hall of Fame up in Canastota, New York, in the beginning of June of 2025. And Manny Pacquiao, congratulations, is the newest member of the International Boxing Hall of Fame, the pinnacle of a champion in the sport, or for any fighter or broadcaster, writer, whatever, to go into the Boxing Hall of Fame. Joining Pacquiao is an elite class, including Michael Nunn, the former middleweight champ, and the Tasmanian Devil, who I know well, known as Vinny Pazienza, who I have a story with him and I. His first pro fight, Providence, Rhode Island, Civic Center, in the limo with him and his dad to go to his first pro fight. We became friends since then. And of course, Pazienza, well chronicled, had a very severe car accident, neck, vertebrae, everything broke, and worked his way back to get back in the ring with a comeback. And former champion as well, now a Boxing Hall of Famer. Well-deserved. Pacquiao, Nunn, and the great Vinny Pazienza. Canastota, New York, beginning of June. More on that as we get close to the Boxing Hall of Fame weekend. Okay, let's take a look at some other things. I think, Carl, I want to put up that nostalgia photo of the bloodline when they were young. I think we skipped that. There we go. Take a look at that. This floated around social media about a week ago or less. There's the original bloodline as youngsters. Can you point out Roman Reigns? Can you point out Jimmy and Jey Uso? And in that photo, do you see Paul Heyman? Who else? Carl, who do you identify there, Carl? Carl's a wrestling buff like me.
Definitely CM Punk. And the other one is Sami Zayn.
And Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn is where at the bottom
upper right-hand corner.
Upper right-hand corner is a young Sami Zayn. And is that there's Roman Reigns at the bottom of the list, right there at the bottom in the middle.
CM Punk has got the same face now as he did as a kid.
Isn't that incredible? Yeah. And of course, Paul Heyman, how I remember him, because I used to open doors for him at some of the small arenas back then years ago when he was starting his great career. But I thought that was a fascinating image to see them when they were young. That's the bloodline. That's the original bloodline as they were younger. Thank you, Carl. And I want to congratulate, let's put this image up, Keith Colon. We've had him on a program a few weeks ago. There he is with the promoter now, former champ, Hall of Famer, I don't know if Danny Garcia is in there as of yet. No, he's not, because he hadn't officially retired yet. Danny Swift Garcia, the former welterweight champ, who said that he wasn't fighting no more. But this past Saturday in Atlantic City on the boardwalk, indoors, of course, at one of the venues, Garcia Swift Promotions continued. Our friend Keith Talone, the featherweight out of Newark, New Jersey, is a 3-0 fighter. Undefeated, got his latest win, a TKO in round 2. So congratulations, Keith Colon, and congratulations to Danny Swift Garcia for continuing to help propel with your new promotion, Danny Swift Garcia Promotions, the young aspiring fighters of this sport, because they become the backbone. They become the champions that you want to develop. They become champions. Danny Garcia knows a little bit about that, having been a 2-3 time world champ, eventual Hall of Famer, and now a successful promoter. So congratulations, Keith Cologne. We're keeping after you here on the program, your progress. And I think he said he's going to be fighting again real soon again. Well, I'm on the program again real soon. Right? Very smart young man out of Newark, New Jersey, and a great fighter he is become at 3-0. I'm going to end the program this week on a sad note. Many of you in boxing know that we lost a legend this past week in 46-year-old Israel Vasquez, bantamweight champ. Too young, but had been suffering from cancer, and this caught us all by surprise that he was fighting the battle over the past year or so. A Mexican warrior, 3-time world champ, 46 years of age, known as El Magnifico. 4 fights with Rafael Marquez. They split all 4 between them. You know, Israel Vasquez, I got to interview 1 or 2 times throughout my career when he was fighting. And I will tell you this, a Mexican warrior, pleasant, and a fighter that showed why he was known as El Magnifico. 4 fights with Rafael Marquez were classics. And if you haven't seen them, they're available to see on YouTube. But most of all, Israel Vasquez epitomized what boxing is all about. Poor young man out of Mexico in a small town, walks in the boxing gym, develops his skills with the trainer, and then works his way into becoming a world champion. 3 times, in fact, which isn't easy to do. You heard me talk about Hall of Famer Manny Pacquiao just a moment ago, newest inductee into the Boxing Hall of Fame, an 8th division world champion, which is even harder to do and may never be surpassed. But Israel Vasquez was one of those guys who fought and fought hard to what he got. Became that champion that we'll never forget. And the boxing world mourns a loss because he was a great ambassador for the sport well after his career ended. You'd see him at ringside at major fights. The Mexican fighters now and of the past would always greet him with grace because they know what his attributes were and how he contributed to the sport. So rest in peace, Israel Vasquez. I'm sure we'll meet again, and the boxing world will mourn the passing of a great legend. And on that note, folks, that's the end of Keep It in the Ring this week. My thanks once again to our guest, Ryan. He is going to knock me out one day because his name to me, Ryan Zampertola, who is a young rising star at 3-0 on his way up the ladder. We'll keep in touch with him. I want to thank you all for watching. Thank you, Carl Roberts, for pitching in this week and putting up with me like Scott Churston usually does on Keep It in the Ring. And, of course, thank you all for tuning in. Of course, like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Rich Mancuso, Spring Punk Entertainment, and the Keep It in the Ring page like that, and the AGT Network. We'll be back again with you next week. We'll have another long hour of information. Our eyes are going to be on that Paro-Hitchson fight Saturday night on the Zone with boxing, and we'll look also at the rematch between Valdez and Navarrete on ESPN, the top-ranked card. Those are the 2 major cards of boxing of interest this coming weekend, so you're going to get a taste of it as we get to wind down the boxing year that's been very, very exciting with some great fights and more of that coming in the year ahead. So to all of you, as always, I want you to stay well, be good to each other, and God bless. And as always, I'm Rich Mancuso. Till next week, thanks for watching, and as I always say, keep it in the ring.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.